Hi, I'm Jo Taylor and welcome to the Misadventures podcast. So this week we've got Dane Baptiste joining us on the podcast. So a little bit of a different episode as well this week, not necessarily about places so much, but what it's like to fly in business class, something that I've got no experience in. I'm sure you haven't either. So
what do you mean you're sure I haven't?
There's no way.
Hang on a minute. You cannot make assumptions.
I can.
That I have not flown in business class.
I can.
When I lived abroad,
Yeah.
I used to fly backwards and forwards all the time.
Yeah.
How dare you assume that I've never flown business class?
Okay, right, let's take a step back. Stamps, have you ever flown business class?
No.
Right.
But I might have. You can't.
Yeah, but you haven't. I think I know enough about you to be able to know you've never flown business class.
You know, I might have. Shouldn't judge people.
You know why I know? Because you flying business class is like vegans. You would have had to have told me.
What has that got to do with vegans?
Vegans have to tell you they're vegan. They can't not tell you. It's a compulsion.
Is this just as you're about to feed them some meat or like just in general?
It's like a personality trait.
Ah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something you have to agree to. You have to agree to tell everyone that you're vegan.
Maybe like part of the club.
Yeah.
Number one rule of vegan club is you have to tell everybody you're a vegan. But anyway, Dane goes into a lot of detail what it's like to fly business class. And I tell you what, if you've never had that experience, then it's quite eye-opening.
It just sounds amazing.
Yeah, it does. I tell you what, though, it seems like a bit of a simple concept to just talk about what it's like to fly in business class. But he had me in stitches. Such a funny episode. And I hope all the listeners think so too.
It was a very funny episode. As well as flying business class, we did kind of discuss travel as well. I mean, we ended up talking about going to Huddersfield.
Yeah.
I don't think he flew business class to Huddersfield.
It's only Huddersfield, yeah. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we also hear about an awful flying experience that he had.
Oh, yeah, don't ruin that. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah, so no spoilers. I feel like an experience like that will certainly bring somebody back down to earth from the altitude of business class.
With a bang. Say no more. On with the episode.
Is that your new catchphrase? On with the episode. Is that are you trying to make that your thing?
That's my thing. On with the episode.
That is America for you, though, isn't it, really?
It is.
Yeah, what is going on?
I mean, what's going on is America is going on. Listen, guys, we're at the end of our tether with that particular place.
Yeah. Nobody go to America.
Yeah.
Oh, I love America.
You love the idea of America. We all love the idea of America, and everyone has the same fantasy of driving an old muscle car through the middle American outback. It sounds wonderful and stopping at various diners and eating various foods. But unfortunately, beneath the underbelly of that wonderful veneer is a whole lot of iniquity.
Joe did just that. Drove a muscle car across America. Well, maybe not a muscle car.
Yeah, I did, yeah. I'll tell you what, though. I did absolutely do that, and I had an absolutely fantastic time. But my number one rule, 100%, was to never mention anything to do with religion or politics or guns.
I don't think that's fair either.
No, I just think I'm in their country, for one. We're brought up in very, very different ways. You know, I'm not going to say that either way is best or anything like that, but it's a case of if you're brought up in a certain way, it's on you to try and educate yourself to see the other side of things. If people aren't doing that, I can't just go in as somebody that's on holiday having them conversations. That's not why I'm there.
That's it, Joe. You tell them.
It's a good point, Joe, but at some point you may be at the front of whatever restrictive policies they may have. Let's say, for example, you meet a wonderful hunk. You're in America around the Bible Belt and you make sweet love and then you're pregnant and you want an abortion. Now you can't get one because you're in Alabama, Joe. You see, it's not that easy to stay out of politics when it affects you, Joe. But that's not your fault, Joe. Like you said, it's about upbringing.
Yeah.
The thing about America, as you said, is that when you say it's their land, that's where the problem always began because it was never their land in the first place.
It is pretty wild. And I think they do have some very, very strong opinions. And it's like, do you know what? I don't actually know enough about their country and the politics and everything on either side. It's just not right for me to try and weigh in on a conversation like that. I don't know enough about it.
You say that, but nobody needs to be of a right opinion to let you go into a supermarket and buy an AK-47. That's never the right opinion to have.
I 100% agree. But when they start firing back with loads of, that was a bad choice of words, when they start coming back with, like lots of other points, I don't follow it enough to be able to have a conversation about this. And I don't want to be one of them people that gets into a conversation about politics or whatever, knowing jack shit about it, basically.
And again, I'm going to tell you that there was a time when that very neutral platitude made sense. And then a reality star became president.
Yeah, I know.
And all of that shit flew out the fucking window.
I know. Oh, believe me, I don't agree with it. When I was there, and I'd only been in America for maybe about a week or 2 weeks, and I went downstairs to have breakfast in a hotel, and there was a police officer, and he had a gun. And I know that's totally normal for that. I know it's normal. But up until that point, I hadn't actually seen somebody just randomly walking around with a gun.
Although it looks different in real life, yeah. It looks very, very different. And that's the problem is that the stylized culture behind firearms and stuff is like, when you watch a film and somebody's like, you okay, man? Yeah, just got hit in the arm. If you get shot in the arm, you might definitely die.
You might definitely die. Yeah. Hit the right artery and you must definitely die.
Even with a police officer with like a standard issue Glock, it's like, damn. It's a big ass gun.
Yeah, I was just sat there eating my pancakes, thinking about my drive to Washington.
You know what, Joe? I understand the pancakes part. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. American pancakes is what keeps my faith in that nation.
Yeah.
Because I can't have a crepe, Joe. I can't eat a fucking crepe, that's for sure.
It's even that thought there, right? Even though he's there to keep the peace, just knowing that at any point he could turn around and shoot you if he felt like it, that's enough for me. That's like, no. I don't need to be that close to death.
Yeah, it's quite sobering, I feel, when you see that sort of thing. Like, you're not used to it here. But made me feel quite nervous, actually.
Well, there you go. I think you've answered the question yourself, just referring to your humanity. See the gun in a holster in a civil area, you're like, what is that? This is a hotel? What does that even need to be here? Trying to eat some pancakes, y'all.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think there's any place for just having them for the sake of having them.
So, yeah, there you go. What a nice, light-hearted way to start today's podcast.
No, we put the world to rights. Well, tried to. I think we've covered guns. Yeah, I think, should we get to it? Should we get into your stories? On a little bit of a less daunting topic, well, it may not be, it depends how this goes. You had a lovely business class flight to Australia.
I did. I really did.
So I've never flown business class. I am all about the cheap flight and longer holiday. I'm that kind of girl. So tell me, what is it like to fly in business class? What was your experience?
It was amazing, I must say.
A little bit was hoping you were going to say it was awful. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, me too. I wanted to be like, it's not all that, I wanted to be like that. Oh, it's not all that, Joe. It's salt of the earth, mate.
I don't need that life.
Yeah, it's salt of the earth. I've tried it, but I could have. No, it's much better. It's much, much better. I would recommend it. If I could never fly economy again, I'd love it. I mean, I was able to get business class due to a deal that was being done on an aggregate website. So I flew out for the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. The very gracious promoters provided an allowance to find the best deal for a flight. First time I missed it, they like, for extra £800, you can fly business class. And I was like, £800? Oh, that's rent money. I can't do that. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's
So maybe you can check at the airport. Got to the airport and I was like, how much would it normally be to fly business class? And they were like, $4,000. And I was like, Jesus,
wow,
is my savior. So the next time the opportunity came up, I was like, hell to the yes, please. And my goodness, I've got to tell you it from the beginning. So first of all, it begins where when you go into business class, you don't go through airport security like regular. I don't want to say this, but as a business class frequent flyer, I have to use the word air peasant. So.
I don't. Yeah, you're allowed to do that. You go for it.
You've paid for the right to call people air peasant.
I have paid for the right.
Yeah.
And you go through different security. So you get to go into security before everybody else. Sometimes when you go to security doors and it's like, what's this caller doing here? Why's this extra door here? That's who the extra door's for business class passengers to not have to mix with air peasants and have their stuff checked. And then the lady might be like, is that a little bit of cocaine? I'll be like, I must have left it there. She'll be like, that's all right. You can do that.
Enjoy your flight.
That didn't happen.
I didn't realise that flying business class allows you to not go through normal security.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't realise.
I know you have to go through security, surely. I didn't realise we went down a separate fast lane.
Same security, yeah, but there's a fast lane, and they genuinely ask about my welfare, and normally people put your stuff in the tray, please. take it out. They're like, "Good morning, sir. How are you? You smell amazing."
Oh.
I'm like, "Thank you very much."
Do you get a better class of pat down as well?
I think you really do. You really do. I like,
A little rub on the shoulder. Oh, you feel a bit tense today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like the guy took out a tape measure. He's like, while I'm here, I might as well, measure you up for a suit, sir. You are in business class and mean business.
It'll be ready for you when you come back.
Yeah.
A little massage.
That didn't happen, Joe, I must say.
Oh, okay.
You do, but you go through security quicker, and you also get access to the lounge sometimes. I think one of the occasions I flew business class, because it was a part of a deal, I didn't get access to the Emirates lounge. And then the second time I was like, "Please look at me. I'm very tall and maybe basketball." They was like, "Carol." I was like, "Thanks a lot, man." Like, yo, slam dunk, yo. Chicago Bulls, hot dogs.
So how tall are you?
6'1". So I'm taller than Allen Iverson.
Oh, you could definitely get away with being a basketball player.
Yeah, see, taller than Allen Iverson. So I can get away.
You'd be a short basketball player, surely.
Not the shortest. But Allen Iverson was 5'11", and he's one of the greatest.
Oh, okay. All right, then.
But then that's the thing. There's a spectrum of beneficial basketball height that directly intersects with comfortable business air travel. 6'1" is a pretty good place to be honest with you.
It is, yeah.
Now comes time to board the flight. And the air peasants, I think they're downstairs and they assemble so they can queue.
Of course, they're downstairs in the basement.
We've got like a separate corridor.
Being herded like sheep.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, you're herded round like cattle, aren't you?
Well, pretty much, yeah. They even call you by like your number and stuff like that, whereas business class, they're like, "Passengers, please do come along." And then basically, where you get the two the tunnels that attach to the flight. So there's one for the economy, and there's one for business class. So you go to the business class entrance, and there's like, "Welcome, sir. Here is some refreshing mist for your face." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you very much."
Refreshing mist.
There's some ambient music playing.
There is ambient music playing, and it's so tranquil. And then you get to your seat.
Right, it sounds like if there's anyone that needs refreshing mist, it's not the people that have just gone through their own little set of security, has been, lapping it up in business class lounge, getting all the freebies, and then gets their own little special terminal onto the plane. It's the bloody,
air peasants.
Yeah, it's the air peasants that need that refreshing spritz.
They want spraying down with Febreze.
That kind of talk and not pulling yourself up by your flying bootstraps is the reason why you're going to stay in economy, okay? They've got a job to do, Joe. They've got a job to do.
Hot towel, sir.
We just get a splash of Evian, like...
Do you know what? You do get a bottle of Evian, I'll be honest with you. You do get a bottle of Evian. You think that's bad? You know where it is? It's amongst your fixture and your sidebar where your seat is. And I say seat, let me tell you, this is not a seat. This is a bed that can fully recline and fully, incline.
Oh, it was like proper business class, not like, like some flights where it says business class, but it's kind of like all you get is just like an extra,
just a bit of extra leg room.
Like premium economy.
Yeah, you just get 6 inches more of room in front of you, and it's basically means nothing.
That's premium economy, Joe Taylor. I almost spat out my port and dropped my monocle.
I have never flown any more than economy, okay, Dane?
That much is clear, madam. That much is clear. Now, if you don't mind, the rich people are talking.
That's when they just put a curtain down the middle of the plane. That's all they do.
Yeah, they do.
They do. And you know what the worst thing is? It doesn't keep out the smell.
It doesn't keep out the riffraff.
Luckily, recirculated air has been pumped into the cabin at a superior pace in business class. So I don't have to smell the failure.
Oh, my goodness me.
Sorry, where was I?
The bed.
The bed.
The bed. First of all, Joe, remember when you take your shoes off before a flight takes off, where do you put your shoes?
Oh, I suppose I do take my shoes off, yeah, and then I put some fluffy socks on.
Hang on a minute, what fluffy socks?
Little fluffy socks, because aeroplanes are cold.
Right.
They're freezing.
They are an economy.
Maybe where you are. I don't know if you know this, but heat rises, Joe, so up here it's very nice.
But yeah, so fluffy socks all the way. That is one of my staple, carry-on items. Fluffy socks. Yeah.
Okay.
Feet get cold. But yeah, I suppose to answer your question, Dane, shoes just go under the seat in front.
Feet do get cold. I agree. But when I take off my footwear, I tend to put them in my footwear drawer. The footwear drawer is located at the base of the feet well in the business class seat, which you lift up and place your trainers in there. Now, if you are cold, you can help yourself to potentially one of the actual pre-packaged duvets that are available in business class, as opposed to the static magnet that you call a blanket in economy class.
Oh my goodness me. I just want to point out, Dane, that it sounds like This is very rehearsed. Are you sure you didn't just work in the business class part of a plane?
No. It's that I was brought up working class, and so I didn't want to forget a motherfucking nanosecond, Joe Taylor.
Oh my goodness, I absolutely don't blame you whatsoever.
And because in the event that anybody goes, are you really in business class? I'm going to break it down molecule by molecule.
Yeah.
You put your footwear in the drawer. Your feetwear in the drawer.
Your feetwear.
Your feetwear's in the drawer. Look, I'm rich. I don't need class or education. Class and money are no longer bedfellows, Joe. It's all to the good.
Oh, 100%, definitely.
So as I scratch my nuts, my air hostess arrives and introduces herself.
And offers you some more nuts.
And she does offer me some more nuts, but not only that. Basically, in business class, to your right or your left, where you're sitting, you get like a mini fridge or like a mini bar. Well, not a mini fridge, but you get like a mini bar. But the drinks are pretty cold anyway. So let's just say it's a mini fridge. Essentially, you have in-flight service, but you have like a wine, a beer, 2 types of soft drink, some nuts, bottle of Evian, and then your air stewardess introduces herself, because essentially where normally you have, I guess, parts of the cabin are assigned to maybe 2 air stewards. It's 1 air steward per 2 people in business class.
That's insane.
No pressing your button and fighting over the air stewards.
No. You can just make eye contact and wave and she'll come over. If she's not too busy or he's not too busy, they'll come over. Or they're not too busy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about Emirates' hiring policy, but I hope that they are employing members of the non-binary community. But I digress. They will introduce themselves and then you'll be offered a complimentary glass of orange juice or champagne or Bucks Fizz before the flight takes off.
Nice. What did you go for?
I drank 2 bottles of 2014 Moet, actually, on the flight.
Oh, right, okay.
I was going to Australia, guys. It takes a day to get there.
Was that a special request?
It wasn't a special request, but it was kind of like, God damn, this is like my 9th glass. And then I looked over, they were like, sir, it's almost finished. And you can't be like, well, someone else must have drunk it, because remember, it's 1 air hostess, 2 people, and the other guy was asleep. So who else drank it? Me, I guess.
Oh, definitely blame him. I'll be like, he's so drunk he's fell asleep. Look at him, he's sloshed.
Look at the state of that guy.
But that's fine. He can sleep it off, because when you wake up, you're given a vanity kit, which consists of a Wilkinson's razor, aftershave balm, flannel, hot towel, shaving foam, and it's like a proper wash kit. It's not even like, you get in plastic that's wrapped up with your cutlery on economy.
Yeah.
No, this is real stuff. Like the toothpaste I got there, like I would use that in a normal house as opposed to like being travel toothpaste. Like it's got the integrity of a regular tube of toothpaste. So you get that. That's all good.
How the other half live.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And also, just to add on, so once we are now at a cruising altitude and the seatbelt signs have come off, not that it makes a fucking difference because you can lie down. I get up and decide to like explore the cabin, and there's a mini bar at the back. So as well as having your drinks brought to your table, you can also go to the back during the flight, and there's a mini bar where you can chill, have bar snacks, have drinks prepared for you. And let me tell you something about Emirates. Not that they've given me any money, but when it comes to their liquor selection, considering they are flying on behalf of Islamic State, their selection is amazing. Like, it's not just like, I don't know if you've ever been on like Norwegian or like another low cost airline. I imagine so, being an air peasant, and that's fine, whatever. I've flown EasyJet myself as well. Yes, it was premium flight, but I've done it as well. I've done the same kind of thing.
You've roughed it.
So getting more and more up my own arse the more this flight continues.
Oh my goodness.
It's very nice to have real good vodka, not just like regular vodka like Grey Goose and Kettle One, and they have real cognac like Hennessy. And you think, dang, but you've already had 2 bottles of champagne. What more do you need?
It's like a proper stocked bar.
Yeah, it's fully stocked bar, yeah.
Doesn't alcohol hit you more when you're flying there as well? So you must have been so pissed.
At first, but then, when you get off a flight and you're drunk, you can be very hungover. People may have to escort you from the plane. But when you get to actually sleep in something that can recline to a bed, you can basically sleep off all the booze.
Yeah.
Then wake up and press a button and be like, hi there, Salawa, may I please have a Evian, please? And she'll say, right away, sir.
And my vanity kit.
Yeah, exactly. And also, get this. So then when it comes time for food, cutlery, real cutlery, cut with a table and a tablecloth and crockery. A tablecloth.
A tablecloth?
You heard an actual tablecloth. I don't mean you trying to balance your hand luggage and a blanket with a tray and a selfish motherfucker in front of you. I mean a real tablecloth. And the thing is, even if the table didn't fit, I've got a whole table next to me with my mini bar to put stuff on. So when they were like, sir, here's our selection of breads, I'll be like, I'm going to put my bread on the bread side. And then a full a la carte menu of various dishes. I don't know if you've ever seen what salmon looks like when it hasn't come in foil packaging. Smoked salmon in business class, it looks very nice, Joe.
We normally only have salmon out of tins.
You know what? Do you know what I can't stand? What is really irritating? When your food comes out and the person, so going on to the selfish person in front, it's as if there's this mean game they play. They think I'm going to wait for that tray to hit the table and them to pour their drink out of that really unstable, shallow plastic cup. And then I'm going to hit the button to make the seat go upright and it like smacks. Bam, and then everything just goes everywhere. Why are people like that?
I couldn't tell you. I was never really raised around people of such moral dispositions. People just are a lot more friendly in business class. There's a lot more space.
I bet.
I guess because we all realise that we're all hard workers and power people within our own industries. So there's no really any conflict. We're all winning upstairs.
That's it.
Yeah. And they don't know that you've got the ticket for £3,200 cheaper.
They don't know. They just assume that I'm the hot rapper / entertainer or athlete of the time.
Basketball player.
Or a basketball player or a crypto millionaire. They don't know.
Yeah.
You can be whatever you want to be in business class.
Oh, you can. Yeah.
Exactly. And they say that all the time. They remind you of that. There's so much positive reinforcement in there. So you can wear a seatbelt, but that's not how innovators are created. You walk around this cabin and you take some time to think, sir.
You live your life.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll be like, thank you. More champagne, please, sour. Right away. Yeah, they do cocktails and stuff as well. And all the time bar snacks and all the time food and snacks.
My goodness.
And then the TV screen is probably about the size of a MacBook Pro.
As opposed to that little 7-inch thing that you get.
As opposed to a little one that fits, in the back, I'd say that might be the only leveler for business and economy class is that there's no real different films that we have access to or different types of music. It's just, pretty much the same thing. It's getting bigger.
You just get them bigger.
And,
yeah. Oh, what a shame. You have to put with the peasant media.
Oh, then there's a channel where you get to hear the peasants downstairs and you're like,
just spy on them.
Yeah, we spy on the poor. And also like a real pillow. I don't mean like a small travel-shaped pillow. I mean a real actual pillow.
Oh my God, them pillows. There is no point. What is that for? It's basically the size of, those little like ring-bearing pillows that people have at weddings. It's like, what? That is not doing anything.
I would say, it's not doing nothing. I only see it as motivation to change my life when I see that pillow.
Maybe that's what they're for.
That pillow couldn't even deal with one pregnant woman's hemorrhoid.
Or maybe they are for motivation to like do better. Do better.
Yeah.
Make better choices and you won't have to try and balance on this.
This is how you're going to be treated.
Exactly.
You know what? I don't think I've ever seen a kid actually in business class as well.
Ever in your life, ever, at all.
Well, I just thought, you know what? After experiencing this, why do I need to share this with anybody? Maybe I might get myself a vasectomy and just keep all my money to myself so I can keep living business class.
I tell you what, I was coming back from New York once and we obviously got on the plane and it was obviously, you had to turn right, go to the back of the plane.
Get where you belong.
Yeah, exactly. And we had to walk through business class. And it's like, you keep walking, you can't afford this shit. And it's like, we're walking through and there was 2 young girls. They must have been teenagers, like 13 or 14. They were like unaccompanied, so they must have been like being looked after by the airline type thing. And it's like, you just don't even deserve to sit in that seat. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I work every day to be able to afford this bloody holiday. And you're there, sat in that seat that's probably cost thousands of pounds just for a couple of hours.
Self-entitled little dickheads.
Yeah, exactly.
God, it did wind me up. I will admit, it did really, really get to me.
You don't know you're born.
Little brat. Yeah. It's bad, isn't it?
Well, this is it. The thing is, I can understand how frustrating that is to work very hard and be ushered like cattle to a seat. Luckily for me, Emirates' business class is upstairs, so I never have to see you. Sorry, motherfuckers. I want to be reminded of where I used to come from. I don't know. It's very hard to get there. I don't want to be reminded of the old hood. I'm so sorry.
I've passed through that life.
I was like, Dane, it's me. It's me, Joe. Remember Joe from comedy? Who's that? Madam, please. It's air peasant is accosting me. Please give her a warm towel.
Spray her with Febreze and kick her back downstairs.
Oh my goodness. Oh God. So your flight, you've had your meal, you've drank your bottles of
Moët 2014.
Yeah.
This is it. And I'm somewhat inebriated, but I've slept it off, so now I'm back up fresh as a daisy. Had a few bottles of Evian. I've had my brunch. And now I'm just taking in the periodicals. And by that I mean I'm watching Avengers Endgame in the big old screen.
Oh, cool.
I mean, that's topping it off, isn't it? That's like the ultimate dream.
I used to have some pictures of when I was in business class. I may have gotten rid of them now. They were all over my social media, being like, I'm better than y'all.
Doesn't do well for the people you want to get to come and see your gigs.
No. And people were like, Dane, please have some class. I don't need class. I got business class.
I have got class and it's business.
Got class right now. I got the best kind of players.
I'm all about the business.
Oh my goodness. Are you aspiring to get into first class next? Is that the next step for you?
I wonder what the massive difference is. If there isn't a big difference in what happens there, then I probably not necessarily need it. But
can you imagine if it's the same amount of difference again?
I don't know.
What would that look like?
The way it would look like is that you will not want me on a podcast. That's for sure.
Oh my goodness! Could you imagine?
I will be insufferable.
You get your own personal hot tub.
Well, I'd expect my own personal hot tub is actually the point. In the lounge before I even get there.
That's it.
I would expect.
Yeah.
Get carried onto the plane.
So when you're coming to the end of the flight then, how are you superior folk treated?
Oh, you're given a hot towel. You're allowed off the plane before everybody else. You are directed towards security and given as much help as possible with completing any of the necessary documentation. They are, to be fair, when you're in business class, they actually are really helpful. Really? Anything short of writing.
So that's why, when you're in peasant class and we're all stood there like lemons, basically gathering in the aisle, everyone trying to fight to get out, slamming each other in the head with their suitcases as they get them down from.
I got to get off first.
Yeah, and we're all there eagerly waiting in the aisles to get out, and it's just like, why aren't the doors open? Come on, bloody hell!
Because Dane's not got off yet.
Yeah, you lot are all dilly-dallying, taking your time, getting spritzed, getting a hot towel, and it's like, all of us are waiting for you.
We're terrible. We are terrible.
Dane's still watching on the screen. He's like, let them wait.
Yeah.
Let the dirty scumbags wait.
I'm not ready yet.
It's that other rich thing that rich people do is that when we're just oblivious. Like, have you ever seen when a rich person's driving in traffic and they're like, oh, something shiny. Look at my watch. Oh, yeah, the red lights. Oh, yeah.
What do you mean there are other cars on the road?
Oblivious to the needs of everybody else.
Yeah.
But it's very refreshing.
I feel like I need to experience this.
I think everybody should. I think they really should.
I need this in my life.
I think everyone should experience it once in their life.
So Emirates, if you're listening.
Emirates are great. British Airways Premium Economy is cool.
Yeah.
I've been told Qatari Airlines, their business class is amazing as well. But Emirates is actually among one of the best.
We'd be happy to go and test it out if Emirates want to arrange that for us, and we'll feedback.
We would, yeah.
If I could make it happen for you guys, let me know. I would be happy to.
All right, well, we'll hold you to that then.
No, seriously, because it's one of these things, like, the thing about experiences is that they're only more fun if you get to share them with other people.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just me rambling about this happened and this happened. Everyone's like, why doesn't he shut the fuck up?
I can back you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would love to have you guys with me on business class, helping me destroy their fucking supply of champagne bottles. I tried, I couldn't do it myself.
That's it. Put them out of business.
You don't get any drinks or anything though when you're completing your documents.
You can if you want. Just ask for it. If you're doing your stuff and you're like, can I get another glass of champagne while I'm completing it? They'll go, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to get a bottle, just put it in my hand luggage. I'm just going to finish this one later.
I think because the bottles can't be sealed. But that being said, if you're riding business class, you probably wouldn't ask for a bottle to go. So they'd be like, wait a minute. I detect working class origins. Arrest him!
Quick, send him downstairs.
No, you know what? I actually disagree, right? The behaviour I've seen of some people that are too rich to care is unreal. They are so
arrogant.
Yeah, they do not give a shit. They will ask for whatever they want because they expect it.
Yeah.
It is wild. Like, you think it's like, oh, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. No, you wouldn't do that because you wouldn't think about doing it. But there are some individuals, once they get to a certain point where basically they understand that they can have whatever they want because they can afford it, behaviour it just changes.
Can't buy manners, can you, Joe?
Oh, definitely. But that assertiveness is taught to the more prosperous classes within our society because, they are told very early, even from school, that they are able to have any aspirations they want. This is not a coincidence, Joe. For example, you'll find that a lot of more menial jobs are jobs that are based within primary and secondary industry, which are like skilled labor.
Yeah.
This is why they have their masculine and feminine denominations, because they drive that divide between the working class. So you get policeman and policewoman and dinner lady and all of these gender predisposed roles. Whereas when you get to the higher echelon of society, where people have occupations such as legal, clerical, or medical, there is no masculine or feminine designation, because at that level there is no division, because it's all about the collectiveness of maintaining that power. So that's why you get lawyer, doctor, or accountant. These are not predisposed to a gender, as opposed to actress or dominatrix.
It was all going so well.
It was, but I absolutely love that ending.
There is a big difference between a dominatrix and a dominator.
Dinner lady's a weird one, right? You know, policeman, fair enough. You get a policewoman.
If a guy says, I want to be a dinner man, you'd be like, don't you mean chef, idiot?
That's it.
Or cook?
You don't get dinner man, do you?
Yeah, you get cook. You don't get dinner man.
There's no dinner man.
That is a very good point. I have never, ever heard of a dinner man.
And the thing is, it's the part of the paradox that is suggested to the working class where women are cooks or dinner ladies, but then if you're a man and you cook, you're a chef. What's that all about? But then at the same time, men are regarded as chefs, but a women's place is in the kitchen. So you can't fucking win with these people.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, that sort of stuff I find really, really strange.
I definitely recommend it as an experience. It's a very different way to fly, and there's a big difference between that and economy class for sure.
And I suppose it's about relativity, right? If somebody's got like a vast amount of money, then $4,000 is nothing to them. But to a very everyday person, working class person, is it really worth $4,000?
Well, that's a question, isn't it? Is it $4,000 better?
Yeah.
Or is it 800 quid better?
No, I think it's 800 quid better. If you have $4,000, you're better off going on a short haul flight and then spending the money on accommodation and getting a banging holiday for your family, because that will have a lot more memories than just a flight.
Exactly.
Part of the reason why I tried to seek for a business class is because Australia is like a 23-hour flight altogether, or maybe 17 hours because they break it up between Dubai. So that's the reason why it's like worth doing.
Oh yeah, I can understand. Yeah, that it is a different kettle of fish. It is. But also being on a flight for 23 hours, that is different in itself, isn't it?
It will change your body clock permanently. Change your body clock permanently. When I used to fly to the States, it's a 7-hour flight, and I used to be like, whoa, this is a long time, blah, blah, blah. Once you do that flight to Australia, flying to New York is like taking a coach to Bristol. It'll feel like nothing.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Australia, you get on the flight, clean shaven when I've left the ground, and when I landed on the ground, had a 5 o'clock shadow. That's how long you're on the flight.
I totally agree about the whole kind of the how you use your money thing, because I spent 5 weeks in America, every single cost included in doing that trip. And I think if I was to have done like a first class flight, the cost of the whole trip wouldn't have even got me first class to New York.
Well, there you go.
Which is wild, isn't it?
But like you say, the body clock thing, we spoke to Matt Richardson a few weeks ago, and he said he flew to Australia to do something for I'm a Celebrity. And he was only there just about 2 days. He said he worked out when he got back, he'd been in the air 48 hours to be in Australia for 47 hours. And it took him weeks to get back to normal.
Yeah, that's the thing. The jet lag is so insane. It'll take you a very long time. I think they say for every hour that they are off is the amount of days it will take you to readjust your body clock. And that is true, because I went to Australia for 2 weeks and I only got over the jet lag on the day I was supposed to fly back.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. It's wild, isn't it?
It's very wild. It's up is down, day is night, summer is winter. So
yes, it literally is.
How was the comedy gala?
The comedy gala was wonderful, actually. I must say, I had a wonderful time. Very much enjoyed it, and they really do take care of you. So to be fair, upon arrival, the good treatment actually continues, because I was met with a driver and then escorted with a limousine to my hotel. So it was out of control.
Very fancy.
Nice.
So that flight sounds amazing, but I think you've had a flight back from New York that maybe wasn't so good.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just bring you back down to earth, shall we, Dane?
Yeah.
Were you with the peasant?
In a weird twist of fortune, when, I get very clearly I wasn't overseeing or taking care of my finances and had a rough month on the stock markets or wherever rich people do, I found myself taking a flight. Oh, you know what it is? It's because it's based on the logic I just told you, which actually, now you remind me of that story. Fuck that shit. Stay fly when you fly in, because my rationale is it's only a 6-hour flight back from JFK to London, Gatwick or Heathrow, whichever at the time, I don't remember. But I want to say Heathrow. Essentially, you would think that it'll be fine. So what I do is I'm like, I'll just take a cheap flight and I'll just save that money and spend it on accommodation when I get to States. However, at the time, I had chosen to fly with Norwegian, and I think they had a lot of flights available to the States at the time. And I used the same aggregate website. And because Norwegian couldn't supply all of their flights, they outsourced some of their flights, it turns out, to a Spanish airline called Wamos.
Called what?
Wamos.
Wamos.
It doesn't matter what it's called. Hopefully it's no longer around.
Oh my goodness.
They're that good.
Exactly. But let's say Wamos.
Yeah.
It's the worst airline I've ever taken in my life. And the first time I took a flight in 1990, I flew Air India, and that was equally terrible. but now they have been fully surpassed by the work of Vamos Air, which is a small, low-cost Spanish airline that kind of looks like... Do you guys remember the Thunderbirds and like other various types of marionation?
Oh, yes.
Where like on the walls and stuff, they'd have like little knobs and stuff that would flash to give you this idea of like what they consider the future to be like. Well, you may not know this, but ever since those people stopped making like Thunderbirds and what's the other one he made? Joe 90.
Captain Scarlet, Stingray.
And Stingray, yeah. So all of Jerry Anderson's formerly employed set designers and employees are now working for Vamos Air.
Vamos Air.
Yeah, because all of it is, there's all these knobs and switches like on your seat and stuff, and they do nothing. They're completely dormant. And I'm not sure if they were part of a flight. It's like before when I used to say like megabus are just buses that were like below the standard to become National Express. And then they've been like, oh, what's wrong with this one? Air conditioner don't work. People don't fucking need that on a bus, do they? I love it. And that's how Megabus was born. And Vamos is kind of like where flights or like maybe its version had been like, and they've been like, what's wrong with this flight? What's wrong with this plane from the 1970s? Well, British Airways used to fly, but it doesn't really work anymore. No, we'll take it and we'll call it Vamos Air. And that's how that airline was born. There's a bunch of dormant, useless fucking buttons that are all over the place. They don't have any TVs on the back of the seats. And so the idea is that you connect via Wi-Fi to the Wamos Wi-Fi and use their app, and you can stream directly from your phone. So that's under the pretense that you have a smartphone or a tablet, and that's how you're able to have in-flight entertainment on Vamos. Or at least it would if their Wi-Fi worked or was free.
Is the Wi-Fi free?
It doesn't matter if it cost money, Joe. It did not work. I've never heard so many Los Cientos and No Comprendos on a fucking flight in my fucking life. I've never heard the word nada so much in my fucking life than on that flight. It was terrible. And the fun doesn't stop there. At first, I was like, oh, I'll have a reprieve at the back of the flight. I can just sit here by myself until big old Mr. Man came and was like, I almost never made it. I'm flying over to Stockholm for a fucking beer festival. So you can imagine the physiology of somebody who's traveling to drink beer.
I must have been a great companion.
So this rather portly air peasant plops himself down next to me, and then it becomes a game of elbow sumo, because you've got to fight for your right to exist.
Yes.
Right.
Because everyone knows all the armrests on economy class are like the fucking West Bank, because it's a constant occupation and you're fighting for your land, otherwise somebody takes it. And I hate it.
Oh my goodness. I very much got experience in this. When I went to St. Louis, we flew to New York, and then we had to get one of those tiny little planes from New York to St. Louis. And it was one of those ones where it's got one seat on one side of the aisle and two seats on the other side. And me and my partner at the time, for some reason, we didn't get seats together on this little plane. It was a matter of you just sit where you're, get a seat.
That's proper air peasant travel, just a free-for-all.
It's like a bus.
Just get on and sit down.
Yeah, and I had to go to the back of the plane, and I was on the window side. I was thinking, oh my God, who's going to come and sit next to me? It's going to be some random. There wasn't much room in there anyway. It was like a little shuttle. And then the person that come to sit next to me kept walking down the plane, and I was thinking, he's gone past that seat, past that seat, past that seat. No more free seats. There's only a free seat free next to me.
He's heading my way.
This gentleman was he was a fair bit bigger than me.
On the large side?
Yeah. And I did not have a lot of room. I was squished up against the wall of the plane. And there was this guy. And I didn't feel like I had a right to be able to have any room on the armrest, because to be honest, he needed it. And it was like, what am I going to do? And 2.5 hours.
Is that what he needed?
He did, yeah.
That's not what he needed. He needed to skip an in-flight meal, by the sounds of it, is what he needed. And I'm not fat shaming. I'm greed shaming. There's a difference.
There is a difference, yeah.
Taking more than your fair share, sir.
That was uncomfortable. So I completely get your pain there.
Do you? Because somebody behind me decided to throw up the side of the wall, Joe.
Oh my goodness, no, I don't know your pain.
Oh no.
And I'm trying to sleep off the discomfort, which is the usual thing I travel when I find myself in the equivalent of the fucking Middle Passage flying back to the UK. And I wake up to the smell of detergent and stomach acid. Because some woman felt nauseous, and rather than throwing up in the big old fucking bag in front of her, decided to do Exorcist up the wall like it was her student loan, and she was a fucking student in the 70s.
Vomit.
And projectile vomit is up the wall, and then they tried to clean it up with detergent, which just gives it the sweet lemon citrus tinge of stomach acid. So
nice.
Yeah.
Did any of it touch you or touch your belongings?
Only my soul. and my pride.
Right. It burnt right through, did it?
Yeah, it really did.
Ripped into there.
To the soundtrack of I Used to Rule the World by Coldplay.
Oh my God, that must have been. Because you know what? Like, watching somebody else be sick is awful. Smelling sick is disgusting. Let alone.
And you don't even know how you got there. You wake up in a vomit bomb, Joe. I don't know why she was sick. I didn't get a chance to make a choice to leave or alert somebody. And old fucking Beer Fest seemed to be fine. He's like, well, it happens at Beer Fest all the time. I don't care what your life is like. What about me? I used to be in business class. Then what are you doing here then? Don't you fucking push me, business class. Don't you fucking push me. I've been in business class. I deserve more than
How
this.
the mighty have fallen. And that smell must have just been recirculating as well.
It's a beautiful story.
Yeah. I wonder if it was a tactical chunder, potentially.
It was, I mean, I couldn't really judge the viscosity of it, but it was strong enough to still stay in a stain on the wall with a fucking detergent outline. So whatever she ate, I imagine she got it on that flight because it was fucking terrible. That was a bad flight.
That's burnt into your memory for completely different reasons.
Yeah, not the best. Burnt into my memory, burnt up against the wall. And oh man, that smell, because like I said, it's recirculated air and I'm not able to move because of the turbulence because I was flying back around winter time. So,
just living in it. 6 hours.
Tell you what though, the smell of food on flights, it makes me heave. It really does. I think the smell of aeroplane food is absolutely disgusting.
That's why you need to get up in business class.
It's the one thing I dread about flying, that waft of that packaged food that's like heated up, however they do it. Oh my God.
It's lasagna, but you was on the phone. That's what it smells like. It's like, it's like a microwave meal, but you're on the phone.
Forgotten about it.
Or it's like a microwave meal, you're like, when someone goes, hey, I put it in the microwave, and you go, did you take the foil off? And they go, oh, fuck!
Yeah.
That's what it smells like.
Oh God, that smell is just awful. I can't do it. It's vile.
It's impressive how they get, no matter what it is, to smell exactly the same.
Yes, it does. You are absolutely right. 100%.
Could be anything.
So bad.
Breakfast, curry.
It's really bad. And I had it a lot. I'd flown economy to Australia once before. And I was like, I could very easily get colon cancer. I keep eating this stuff. Think about how many in-flight meals you get on like a 7-hour flight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then times that by 3 because you're flying to Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, after a while, I'm like, I don't think I should be eating all this stuff. It's crazy as well because when you get to Australia, the food is so healthy and stuff as well. And the food is so good. So it's a really weird dynamic, really, to have. It's not until you have to have about 9 in-flight meals you finally realize what Jerry Seinfeld was saying when he was like, what is the deal with plane food? Yeah. What the fuck is the deal with plane food? What is the deal with it?
No one said you have to eat it, though, Dane.
All right, no one said you have to be in economy class, but there you are, like a tramp.
We are where we are.
The best thing now about the plane food is every airline, when you open that crappy magazine, on the front page, they're telling you which celebrity chef has now reinvigorated, rebranded, and endorsed their in-flight menu.
Yeah,
it's
really good.
Oh, I bet they have. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I went to a cinema in Dubai where Gary Rhodes, rest in eternal peace, he had curated the menu in a cinema.
There you go. See,
that's how I live, y'all. That is how I live.
Wild.
What has happened to me? This is the question.
Was the puke the last of the misfortunes on this flight?
I mean,
misfortunes is polite, isn't it?
No in-flight entertainment.
I disagree. Actually, with that statement. I think it was probably very entertaining.
Sounds very entertaining.
Yeah, as a bystander.
Oh, yeah, for watching you.
For all the wrong reasons.
If you were like, a bystander or an ex-girlfriend, then
my goodness.
You'd have loved it. You would have loved it.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, it was a harrowing experience to say the least for me, I must say.
So I think the next little story you've got to share with us, I don't think you needed a flight for this one. So you went on a family trip to Huddersfield. How was that?
It's always fun when we get there. It's just the travel there is fucking horrible. Not because I don't dislike my family, but I was always the small one.
Oh, yes.
That means when you're the small one, you have to sit in the middle.
Hang on, you're the small one and you're 6'1".
Now I am. I wasn't always this way until I was 17. Yeah, that height didn't come in until I was 17. And my God, did they reach that advantage? Those sons of bitches.
Not a family of giants.
I mean, I'm the shortest boy in my generation of cousins, so they are pretty tall. The next one after me is 6'6".
Oh, my
Wow.
life.
Yeah.
He should be a basketball player.
Oh, take his side every time. I was born first, Joe. Never good enough. It's never good enough. Do you know my mother texts me when Marcus Rashford got an OBE to be like, what's happening? I've never even met this guy.
What What have you done with your life, Dane?
Pretty much. The question I'm asked all the time.
Yeah, bringing shame on the family.
Why aren't you feeding the kids? Get out of business class.
Exactly, yeah.
Get talking to Boris. Go feed the kids.
I've considered it. I do want to feed the kids. I'm working on it. But, I'm also working on my football, and that's not going great either. So, So basically what we used to do is my mother has 6 sisters. And 3 of them are in Huddersfield. So we go to see the family. Yeah, it's really nice catching up with family and stuff like that. My mum's got 3 sisters up there. They've got all, on average, 2 daughters and 1 son each. So very big family.
That is a big family.
And so we'd spend like bank holiday there and stuff. And it was really fun. It's just driving back at the time. And the thing is, my dad never had the worst car. I think at the time we would have had a Ford Escort.
Reasonable.
I think it would have been around 1991. At the time, it was not too far off being, pretty top spec as a car. Because my dad used to work for Ford. But I think we got it just before electric windows came in. And I think it was somewhere between electric windows and child windows. So the windows could go down, but they couldn't go all the way down on the motorway. And my dad, and he'd be like, why can't you put on the AC? Because of the petrol. It just wasting blah, blah, blah. And air conditioning wasn't really a thing at the time. And the dad was like, I'm not spending money on petrol. And just being a kid and the child of immigrants in a car is just the worst, because you have to sit in the middle and you have to listen to what your parents want to listen to. And occasionally you get some radio music. And remember, none of us really had personal stereos in those days. And even if you did, it might be a Walkman. And that was limited to batteries. It only had a forward button. So you'd have to turn it over to forward it the other way. So you had to skip past Madonna's album to get to the right back to the Michael Jackson double album that you was given for your birthday because you got a twin sister. So they assumed they'd just make the same tape for both of you. So you're going to have a fucking choice. And then, because you come from a strict family where you have to show reverence to your elders, your dad is just farting away with complete impunity for the entire 5-hour plus trip, and you can't chastise him because he gave birth to you, came from his balls. Like, well, I can't come from anywhere in the nether region that produced that kind of smell. Shame, double shame, shame squared, with a sprinkling of shame on top. And then finally my mum gets the courage to be like, John, stop it. And he's like, shut up, I'm driving. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And then we stopped at welcome break services. Oh, yes. And all of that was just torture, because it's just for my dad to go to the toilet. So then you stand around and I got to wait with him while I listen to the sound of other people defecating and smelling other man's stale piss. I need to come back outside and my dad's like, live those sweet to learn. There's food at home. And you're like, the food at home sucks.
I want the £10 sweets from Welcome Break.
Right, I just want the £10 sweets like any normal kid who was raised by the Sultan of Brunei or Ms. Macaulay Culkin. And I couldn't get it. And then there used to be this other, like, I want to say it was called Jenny's, like a fast food place.
Yeah,
that
Jenny's.
You used to get in the sticks. Do you remember Jenny's?
Yeah.
And so Jenny's used to have this.
You weren't born.
You weren't born. And they used to have this big old milkshake maker. And I used to be like, one day it will be mine. And now, guys, I tried the milkshake once and it wasn't bad. I think maybe one of my aunts got it for me, maybe to buy my silence. I don't know, but it was fine. And then you know what? I worked hard and I climbed the rungs of all the corporate and showbiz ladders and made friends and made enemies and networked and had lovers and lost lovers and made sacrifices that I could be able to drive a car and get a milkshake at my will. Ladies and gentlemen and members of the non-binary community, and you know something, guys? I'm lactose intolerant. It was all for nothing! It was all for nothing. And my God. Now I have the free run of the world. I am my own man. I can buy whatever I want to buy. And now I'm lactose intolerant. That's when Shake Shack decides to fuck over to the UK.
Oh my God.
I would be better off licking the vomit on the wall of the Vamos flight than having a fucking strawberry milkshake.
That's very sad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they'd just be cramped in the back of my sisters who are bigger than me, and they would be taking up all the space, and I'd be in the middle all squashed and stuff, and it'd be bank holidays. My dad would be like, it'd be fun? Let's go to Notting Hill Carnival. I'm like, Dad, my legs are fucking atrophied for the last 5 hours. You want me to walk around Ladbroke Grove now? You are a monster, sir. A monster.
Oh, my goodness.
This is your culture. This is torture.
Fuck the culture.
Could you not have a milkshake with a non-dairy alternative?
They didn't exist back in the 90s.
In those days, honestly, we barely had seatbelts, Joe. We barely had seatbelts in those days.
It's all right, you were kept in by being squished into the middle seat. You weren't going anywhere.
Pretty much. The integrity of fucking sausage meat. You don't know what it's like to be lactose intolerant.
You weren't lactose intolerant in the 90s. You just got the shits in the 90s. There was no such thing as lactose intolerant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even now, in the noughties and the 2010s, you can't even shit shame people if they shit their pants.
I think you
There's
can.
got to be a reason for everything nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I didn't shit my pants. I'm just anally anxious. Blah, blah, blah. You kids don't know you're born. That's wrong with my country now.
Oh my goodness.
I love anally anxious.
I've never heard of anally anxious.
I have a stressed sphincter.
I think everybody has the right to say whether or not they're anally
You
anxious.
should speak out. Just talk to somebody about it.
Exactly. Someone needs to raise awareness. And Joe, I think you could be the person to do so.
For anal anxiety.
You
could be the poster girl for anal anxiety.
You could.
Brilliant, fantastic. I can't wait.
It's like every time people approach me to do like erectile dysfunction or small penises matter, and I'm like, I'm not doing that run. I'm sorry.
What if it was for like a photo shoot that was in New York and they said that it would fly you first class?
To do erectile dysfunction and small penis awareness.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll do it, you know.
Yeah.
I would do it.
If it's good enough for Pele.
Yeah, if it's good enough for Pele, exactly. And people still respect Pele massively.
Yeah. Just like you'll get respect for anal anxiety, Joe.
Oh, I bet.
Someone needs to speak out
I
about
bet.
it. What I'm worried about, though, is the massive influx of good people being like, I can eat your anus for you, Dane. And I could be like, why is that going to be different from amyl nitrate?
God.
Hey, we see plans through on this podcast. You know that.
If you're feeling anxious about anal anxiety, just unclench and let it out.
Yeah. Let it out.
Can see it now.
Wow. This family trip to Huddersfield really has not gone where I thought it was.
Oh no, it's still fun though. I do have a good time. I just it's just the trips there and back that I used to just absolutely hate because I was always the smallest. Whereas now I get to sit in the passenger seat or even drive sometimes. Now I'm the big one.
Were you just willing yourself to grow for like 10 years? You're like, come on.
Pretty much. I used to do a lot of research into like my thyroxine levels. They were like, oh, so the thyroid is where growth comes from. With the right amount of iodine and salt. So I was like, well, that's got to be done.
Yeah, you just made yourself lactose intolerant in the process.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, sacrifices had to be made. And I do miss cheese, but not all the cheeses. Like I miss pizza cheese, nacho cheese, and macaroni cheese. All of the main cheeses were.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, the three main cheeses.
Yeah, all the good cheese. Like I've never needed blue cheese on my hot wings or buffalo wings. I've never needed cheese on my fries.
Oh, it's the best part. Blue cheese sauce with hot wings. Oh my goodness, that's the dream. That is the best part, Dane.
I can't imagine that going down well for anal anxiety. So
no.
I'm gonna pass. And also buffalo wings, right? I know it's because they're from Buffalo, but wouldn't it make more of a sense, like ironically, to use buffalo mozzarella with said buffalo wings?
I could see that.
Did I ever tell you I'm into food porn? So I can't do it, but if you want to do it, Joe, I'll watch. So yeah, I'll watch.
I thought, no, isn't mozzarella like solid, isn't it? It's not like a
buffalo mozzarella. Stretch it. It's a bit stringy.
Yeah, stretch it out. Yeah, stringy. People would eat that. You get mozzarella, like you get what they called escalopes, right?
But it's a bit bland, though, isn't it? It's not very flavoursome.
If you say so, I don't know.
Whereas blue cheese has obviously got a lot of flavour. I guess you would not know, would you?
It's gonna have to live vicariously through you.
What I normally do with my friends.
I have actually been to the bar in Buffalo, in New York State, where buffalo wings are meant to originate from. That was pretty cool.
What did you order?
Shockingly, garlic bread.
Ice cream. Milkshake.
Yeah.
Are you one of these people that goes to Nando's and asks for a vegetarian menu? Because if you are, you deserve a slap.
Oh, goodness, no, I'm not a vegetarian.
With the menu, nothing crazy, but a slap with the menu. Read it again!
No, I'm definitely not those individuals.
Get out.
Definitely not. The only thing I've got on you is, and I'm really not sure what
this sounds like a police interrogation.
Yeah, I don't know what this refers to.
I've got one more thing on you.
I'm going with the notes that I've got, and I don't know what this refers to at all, but Coco Pop in a bowl of Rice Krispies.
Oh, Coco Pop's in a bowl of Rice Krispies.
Can you explain?
I can, yeah. It basically refers to my various journeys and experiences around the world where I find myself in geographical locations where nobody else looks like me. Like, for example, the year after I think I did Edinburgh for the first time, I went and did a show in Estonia in the winter when it was snowing. I don't think you can get any whiter than that. It's still white as it gets. The only way it could get whiter, and I did it, was to take a ferry across the Baltic Sea to Finland. And I think I was the only white person on that entire ship. And I was like, what in the name of fucking Titanic is going on here? It was so cold, but
not Titanic.
I did it and I survived. I mean, Australia was also very similar in places. I've also done shows in Latvia, again, when I was definitely a Coco Pop and a bowl of Rice Krispies.
Great analogy.
Yes,
and then also, when I was on tour, I want to play, I think it's Milton, but essentially I was up in Cumbria. and I had a rental car, which is like a Dane Baptiste, which is not a car to bring to the Lake District. You don't want that car for hills. That is a city vehicle, because that car very easily tipped off cliffs many, many times. And I do not recommend. So I did a show in Cumbria, and then I stayed at a bed and breakfast. And for me, it's always very surreal when I finish a gig and I have to drive to my accommodation, and there are no streetlights showing me how to get there. And at some point, as you're driving along, and the GPS is just like, there we are, no distinguishing places or marks anywhere. Are we sure we're still going the right way?
My goodness,
there is no other road to go on. When I get there, everyone's always so friendly. I think it's a real point that within this country, it's suggested to us, particularly from mainstream media, that if you do go to places that don't have a very multicultural population, that it's a given that these people will hold very regressive views. And that is not the case.
Yeah.
I think I've been a lot of places where I've been very surprised by the hospitality. And actually, I can be quite shy myself sometimes. And at bed and breakfast, and they were like, "So, Dane, tell me more about yourself." And I'm like, "Why? What's going on here? I'm from London. We don't talk." No. Why are you doing this? But yeah, it's been quite friendly. But yeah, I've found myself many times being in parts of the world where I am the only person who looks like me. When I was 14, my mum signed me up for a German student exchange where I spent a week in a place in West Germany called Aachen. I was like, "Mum, come on, buddy. I mean, I don't know. You remember Germany from school? Are you sure this is what we should be doing?"
Do you remember the country that wanted to wipe out everyone except white?
Yeah, I feel like she was. But yeah, it was, again, turned out to be better than I thought it would be. But again, it's put me in these very precarious, what I thought would be very precarious and unconventional situations. But I can say that they've always been quite beneficial in that it's helped me.
Oh, that's good then.
When you're in places like Estonia or Latvia, where it is like 90% white, do they treat you different?
Not massively, and that was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
I have to say also, it's like 95% white. That's, I mean, I know you're trying to imagine a white. This is really white, really white. But yeah, I'll definitely say that no, that I didn't experience any different treatment. I'm very thankful to say that. I think there's a lot of more transience of people kind of moving between stuff a lot of the time. So, you know, I think they're used to seeing people from different backgrounds and stuff. I guess I'd say pleasantly surprised, but I always try and go by being like, you know, prepared for whatever.
Yeah.
I really would like for people to not feel like the sentiment around the world is that people of different races or people that appear different are not really welcome. So if anything I can do. And also I feel like sometimes for a lot of comedians, a lot of my successive generations of comedians and stuff, I think they may have those same kind of fears. And like I said, if anyone subsists on mainstream media, it could be a given for you to think that, you know, people that look like you aren't welcome in certain places. But it is my pleasure to tell everyone that that is not the case, and that people will treat you. I mean, it's no different to other parts of the world. You may get some dicks somewhere, but that's because they're dicks, not because of the country that you're in.
It's quite sad that it's probably worse at home than it is like in other countries.
Yeah. I mean, but you know, it's. I think you're more sensitive to it at home, maybe, and you're probably more aware, more sensitive to when you see it at home.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think it is a sentiment that is spreading in other places.
Yeah.
But I think by the same token, in the same way that we're sitting here and being like, what kind of bullshit has happened here where people are behaving like this?
Yeah.
I think that same kind of rebuttal is being felt by a lot of people. I guess I have the privilege of, when I do travel, I'm meeting other artists, other people involved in the industry. So they are, you know, somewhat a bit more enlightened than your average person. But that, you know, but at the same time, I think a large part of it is because of a lack of travel and the lack of opportunity for people to interact with each other. That stokes a lot of these ideas. I think when people are more exposed to a lot more diverse, people from very diverse backgrounds, and they indulge more diverse aesthetics, then people become a lot more broadened in their horizons. So I think really and truly traveling and experiencing other people and cultures is how we kind of remedy that.
You know, in England, we do have people from loads of different backgrounds.
You expect, like, if I went now from my house and walked into like town, you would see a whole melting pot of different races and religions, and you know, but you wouldn't bat an eyelid because you're just used to it. But if I walked to town and everyone was a predominantly white male, you'd be like, this is a bit weird. What's going on?
You're like, what happened here? Am I in prison?
But yeah, exactly.
What crime did I commit?
But you just get used to it, don't you? You don't see it because it's just, I think we're quite lucky in that respect that we live in such a multicultural country.
By the same token, you know, like I said, in my experiences when I've been to Norway and Estonia, even though it's a lot more of a racially homogenous area, depending on how people are educated and their access to, you know, information will kind of determine their disposition. And I found, like, for example, I did a show in a place called Horsegund in Norway where I was definitely a Coco Pop in a bowl of Rice Krispies. And when I say bowl of Rice Krispies, I mean in a tray of Rice Krispie cakes being served to members of the army. That is how white it was. And but despite that, I had a good time. People were very friendly and welcoming. And I think sometimes people are just happy for the novelty of seeing and hearing something new from their normal kind of banal, day to day.
Maybe they just really fancied a Coco Pop, and they're like, "Oh, look at that!"
Exactly that, yeah. So like, oh, and they're like, "Would you help us turn our milk chocolatey?
Can you hang around?"
Yeah.
Oh my goodness me! That's like a really good note to end on. That's great.
Positive news story.
It is, yeah. We started off fairly, grey.
Bleak.
But yeah, definitely. But I think we've ended on high there.
Absolutely.
Some of those stories, maybe you'll just continue to fly business class. But if you ever do have the unfortunate experience of sitting in the peasant end of the plane again, I really do hope that you are not sick on anymore.
That's all you can hope for, right?
Yeah.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
It would, or at least people just increase their technology in terms of treating that stuff. I like sawdust rubbing up the fucking wall would have been better.
That's it. Sand, just mask the smell.
Oh my God.
Fire, set fire to it.
Exactly. Just burn it. Just jettison the whole ship. Everybody eject. I think they should have let my oxygen mask come down because I didn't need to smell that shit all the way back.
I just don't even want to think about how bad that would have been.
Oh no.
Well, anyway, on that note, I think that is probably a good place to stop. So, verdict on business class. We've heard all about it. We've got all the details. How much was the ticket meant to be?
4,000 squids.
Yeah. Are we saying everything that Dane just told us is worth £4,000?
No.
And I know it's got to be relative to like how much disposable income you've got, but are we saying for the average person, $4,000?
No.
It's in perspective, right? It's for a 23-hour flight. There is that.
I will say it again. No.
Okay, so with all the information, I know.
Yeah. And I know you say the amount of expendable cash you've got.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make it worth it. That means you can afford it. That doesn't make it worth it.
That's true.
Yeah. And I think the fact he got it for £800 probably makes it worth it.
Oh, for £800, I'd definitely go for it. Like, the 8 hours to America is a lot. Oh, God, I just wanted to, get there.
You're not going to get there any quicker.
No, I know.
It's just going to be more pleasurable.
The way I see it is I would rather drive to Scotland in my SUV that I've got than in a Citroen C1.
Okay, yeah, fair.
I mean, again, for some people, it's not important, but crikey me,
Crikey me.
Yeah, again, depends what you want to spend your money on. But I think all those just added little bits to make that journey a bit nicer. And if you're on your own as well, I think that is worth that money.
And nobody was sick on his head.
There's that as well. I wonder how in business class that would have been dealt with.
They probably took the woman out the window.
I said, open the fire door. Get 'em out.
Off she goes.
Yeah, exactly.
You get one chance, love. You're not for up here.
Exactly.
Bye-bye.
So maybe if somebody was sick on him in business class, it sounds like it would have been dealt with in a whole different way. They've probably got like a laundrette in there or something as well that can wash clothes.
Someone comes and gives you a little hose down.
In some, they've got showers, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. Showering on the plane.
He would have been able to go and change his clothes, had a shower. So I'm saying, take my money.
Joe is on board.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still up for going for free, to be honest. Emirates, you know where we are.
Obviously.
I feel like we've spoken enough about business class now.
Yeah, we have, yeah. Honestly, Joe, I think hilarious episode. I was absolutely in stitches when we were recording that. Just such a funny guy.
Dane was brilliant.
And so were we.
And so were we.
If you're not following Dane on any of the socials, get following now. He's on Instagram, Twitter, on the TikToks, the new thing that all the kids are on. Go check him out.
Go check him out. And here comes my other catchphrase.
Oh, God.
Same time next week.
Find us on Instagram, Misadventures in Travel. Follow us, like our posts, support us, and if you've got any stories, any misadventures of your own, DM us, let us know, and we could share them on the podcast.